Hello everyone and welcome to the final bonus video for Halo 5 where we'll be going through a sort of ranking of the games and the levels within them and stuff, and then finishing off with looking at trailers, the first two trailers to release for Halo Infinite, which is very exciting. At time of recording it's just a couple of days until the stream, the big gameplay reveal stream, so looking forward to that. But yes, let's start off with going through my thoughts on rankings and stuff, and I would very much like if you are interested in leaving your own personal rankings down in the comments, and I would love to know how much of a consensus there is on these things, and yeah, get a mix of opinions and see what people say. So, gonna start off with probably the easiest one for me, which is which game has the best music, and I've got to just go straight away with ODST. I thought ODST's sort of jazzy soundtrack was just fantastic. Mwah! Chef's kiss. It was so good. It was so different as well. Not to disparage the other games' music at all. I adored a lot of the music in a lot of the other games, but there was just something special about ODST's, man. It was. I wonder how much of it was because it was a departure. Not sure, but like whereas the previous ones and the following ones were like more bombastic and like, fuck yeah, I'm the chief, I'm here to destroy you Covenant scum kind of thing. It was more like, I don't know, melancholy and vibey, and like the sax would hit and you'd just be like, oh, this is just great. So that is my personal pick. I'm not going to do like a ranking for each of the game's music because I feel like I'm probably mixing up in my head some of the tunes and which games they came from. So we'll just go with the best one for me, and yeah, for me the best one for the music was ODST. Let's see how. I feel like that's going to be a fairly popular opinion. I don't know if all of my opinions are going to be popular opinions, but I feel like that one we can probably all agree on. Best Cortana. I wouldn't have even thought to put this as a category, but I saw some people discussing which is the best Cortana model wise. I've got to go with Halo 2 Anniversary. A lot of love was being had for the Halo 4 model. Gotta say, 2 Anniversary does it for me. But I think Halo 4. It seemed like people were agreeing that they prefer the Halo 4 one in general. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Gotta say it how it is. 2 Anniversary, top tier. Okay, so let's do best and worst levels from each individual game. Hope that hope there's no hot spicy takes in here. I think they're all fairly, like, I don't know. I don't think I've written, because I've written these down so I can remember them easily. I don't think I've written anything that people are going to massively disagree with. So Halo 1, there were a lot of cool levels, a lot of cool introductions. Shout out to obviously the very first level, kick off the entire massive series. Did a great job getting you straight in there and invested. But I've got to go with the Silent Cartographer for my favourite levels. There's a few reasons for that. It had some cool outdoor and indoor sections. Driving around the island was sweet, and then actually delving in. There was the cool bit with the Sword Elite guarding the door. Really enjoyed that. And then when I came back and he jumps out at me and murders me right in the face, that's a very fond memory I have. And then on top of that, it was also one of the few levels to not be repeated, because like the Pillar of Autumn, you're going through it at the start and end of the game. Truth and Reconciliation, you go through that ship at the start and end of the game. The 2 Betrayals level, that's also the Assault on the Control Room level. So there was a lot of repetition, which is probably a disk space limitation or something back in 2001. But Silent Cartographer did not get repeated and was just really, really fun. So that is what I'm going to put as my fave. For the worst level of Halo 1, I'm going to go with 2 Betrayals. It started off interesting with the Sentinel fight in the control room. That was cool. But then it was going back through the huge ice level, which I don't know. It was always going to be. It was always, the worst one for me was always going to be one that was a repeat. But I was thinking about the others, and the one after that, it kind of mixed things up with the section like down in the swampy bit, and then the final one obviously had the Warthog run, which was brilliant. And so it was this one that felt like it repeated the most without really adding anything particularly new. So I think yeah, I think I'm fairly confident in saying that was the worst one for me. Not that I didn't like it, it was still a fun time, but out of all the Halo 1 levels, I think that'll be the one for me. And then I'm interested in how many people are going to say the library, because I enjoyed the library, but at the time, a lot of people were saying that they found the library boring, but not me. As an introduction to, well, the previous level introduced the Flood, but then that was like showing just how scary they could be. And yeah, it was kind of like similar layouts the whole way through, but it felt tense, and I don't know, I liked it, what can I say? So I'm curious to see how spicy hot that take is. Okay, so moving on to Halo 2. For the best level in Halo 2, I've got to go, I don't know, I'm curious actually whether people will agree with this, but I've got to go with the opening level to Halo 2, Cairo Station. I loved that opening level. It was really cool. You get to go outside, out on the outer hull, I guess is the word, of the station. Get some low gravity sections. You've got drones in there, which were the first introduction of the drones. The elites, like, were they jetpacking around in the outside section? I think they were. Either that or they were just doing some big jumps. Introducing like dual wielding, that was cool to play around with. It was just a really solid introduction. And the cutscenes as well, especially the last one on that level when you're flying through, giving the Covenant back their bomb. That was just, oof, that was good. That was very, very, very good. So I think Halo 2, one of the issues I had when looking through the levels for Halo 2 to make these decisions is that a lot of them were split into two when they kind of didn't need to be. So like Delta Halo and Regret, for example. If they'd been one combined mission, that could have been the best one, potentially. But because they were split into two, it's like, I don't know. It felt like it's not quite enough to go, yeah, that's my favourite. Because it's like, you can kind of view them as just one thing, even though they're not. Similar with Arbiter levels later on and stuff. So, yeah, for me, I'm going to go with Cairo Station as the best one for Halo 2. And for the worst one for Halo 2, let's go with Quarantine Zone. So this is the second set of 2 levels that you play when you're playing as the Arbiter. The second group of 2. And it is the second level of that second group. So it had a lot of repeating environments going through just sort of sentinel-y areas with like bits on fire, and honestly I'm struggling to even recall it even now. Someone at the time was saying that those levels were kind of fillery, and I disagreed at the time, but now looking back I'm like, actually maybe they were a little bit fillery. I'm not sure if that's sacrilege to say, but it definitely felt like it wasn't great. And then it ended with that long gondola section, and there were no checkpoints on it. And I died really far into it at one point, and got reset all the way back, if memory serves. And so that wasn't good. So that's definitely decreased my appreciation of that level. So I'm going to go with Quarantine Zone. Let me know your own best and worst. And then we are on to Halo 3, and I don't think there will be any debate that the best level in Halo 3, and I think the best level in the entire franchise, is the Covenant. That was just so perfect. That was, oh man, we came in, was it called Trident, that chapter, and we had like the green what's the word, phantoms flanking us. That was a cool entrance. Spartan laser out, awesome fun, storming down that sort of like beachside bit, driving up to the tower, and then you've got the whole inside the tower section. You take down your bit of the barrier, and then you go to a flying section. You're flying the Hornet. That was super fun. Loved that. And going to the third tower and doing that. And then you're not even done then, because then you get into a tank. And then you get to go rampaging through the hills. And then the 2 scarabs come down. It's like, oh my god, you fought one on their own before, but 2 at once. Crazy stuff. And then, even then, you're still not done, because you've got to go in. You've got to fight through the Covenant forces protecting Truth. Miranda dies. You kill Truth. And even then, you're still not done. You've got to turn around. The Flood has turned from ally to enemy, and then you've got to fight your way back out. And, oh man. Will they ever make a level better than that? I don't know that they can. It was just so much coming, and like the fact that it was also the culmination of so much of the Covenant storyline, because the 2 levels after that were dedicated to the Flood pretty much. So it was like the final hurrah of the Covenant, in a sense, as well. So just everything coming to a conclusion there was brilliant, and I just absolutely adored that level. Also, a little honorary mention, honorable mention to the Ark, the level before it, which was also very, very, very good. And in any other game, the Ark would have probably been the best level. But in Halo 3, going up against the Covenant, so it couldn't quite match that level of just amazingness. But yeah, that's the best one. Worst one happens to, while the Covenant was probably the best level in the entire franchise, I would probably say that the worst level in Halo 3 was also the worst level in the entire franchise, which was Cortana. Sorry, Cortana, your level sucks. I did not have fun. I did not enjoy it. There was zero enjoyment to be had going through High Charity or Floodified. I really wish that you could more easily tell it was High Charity, because obviously it had just been completely taken over by the Flood at that point, and the walls were all just orange and pussy, and I would have liked to be able to see a bit more clearly, like maybe older sections that we went through back in Halo 2 or something. But it was literally just fight through tunnels just filled to the brim with Flood transforming into those long-range fuckers, and then you get close to them and they transform into the massive meaty fuckers, and then you get to Cortana, and that was cool. And then it's like destroying the 3 pillars and then escaping back through the tunnels you just came from, and it's just no, didn't like it. I look forward to never playing that level again. That was just sad times. I just feel sad thinking about that level. So that is for me the worst level and the best level of both the game and the entire franchise, both in 3. Let me know your thoughts. Then we move on to ODST. Now, the levels in ODST were very bite-sized. I thought about saying just like the whole overworld thing, but I don't know if you can call that a level, because it's like it's a hub world that you are going back to time and time again. So we'll give it honourable mention status, because I don't know if it should really count. Honourable mention status to the, what was it called, Mombasa Streets. But then what I decided my favourite level was the Oni Alpha Site level. You start off by blowing up that bridge, and then you retreat inside the Oni building, and you fighting waves of Covenant in there. You've got your little turret in the centre, that was cool. Going up the lift top, and then you're finishing off with blowing it up. Awesome stuff. The levels in ODST were generally very short, so of all of them, I think the most happened in that one. That was the most exciting one. Just lots of awesome moments. And also a shout out to Uplift Reserve on that one, because I really enjoyed that. Very heavily vehicle focused mission, and that was just a lot of fun. But I think Oni Alpha Site takes it for best mission there. And then worst mission, it was actually kind of hard picking a worst mission for ODST, because there were none that stick out for me as bad at all. But I ended up going with Kikawani Station, the one where you are majority of the time in the Banshee and just sort of escorting your team in the Phantom through. And it just felt kind of meh, I guess, out of all of the ones, out of all of the levels in ODST. That's probably the one that's just like the least memorable. You're just flying around, shooting down a few Banshees. You do fight a Scarab, but you just shoot that down too, and I don't know. I'd go with that as the sort of least memorable and therefore worst out of what was a very good bunch of levels for ODST. So then we go to the prequel, Halo Reach. Lots of good levels there as well, and I couldn't really pick a bad one, but we're doing the good one first. So I went with Winter Contingency, which is the opening levels. That's in both Halo 2 and Halo Reach. I thought my favourite level was the opening level. In Winter Contingency, I specifically said at the time as well that it gave me vibes of the Covenant, the level of the Covenant. Just the way like you were crossing a lot of ground in that level, fighting your way through various like facilities and over quite big spaces. You were driving, and then you save a bunch of Marines, and then you get on the was that Hornet as well? That takes you to another section, and you've got to fight through that little facility, and you've got the cutscene with the elites jumping down and taking hostages, and then you've got to fight your way through to the sword guy at the end. And that whole thing was just like, I think that's probably the best. I think that's better than Cairo Station, which makes it the best opening level in the franchise, in my opinion. Loved that level. That was good stuff. And so yeah, for the worst level of Reach, again, this was pretty hard to pick. There were none that particularly stood out as bad, but I went with the package, which was the second to last mission if you don't count Lone Wolf, which you probably do, so third to last mission. And the only reason I went with that one is because a large chunk of it, well, maybe not a large chunk, but it's fairly, I guess it was like 50% of it was repeated from the sword-based level early on. And it was changed a bit, like flooded a bit, but it was the same area that you were going back through again. And I couldn't really think of any other level that I would say was bad, and I don't think the package was bad either. The second half of that level was fantastic. The whole defending Halsey's base and stuff, that was great, but purely because it repeated stuff no other level did, so I guess that makes it the worst. That will be what I'll go with for that one. So then moving on to Halo 4. Best level. This was actually a hard one for me, because there were two levels that I truly loved in Halo 4. The first level, which is not the winner, so we'll give it honourable mention status. The first level that I truly loved in Halo 4 was Forerunner. That level was good, man. The reason it didn't win was because you're fighting the Prometheans for the first time, and there were moments fighting them in the first level where it's like, what? Like when the Knights are teleporting away from you, or the Watchers are shielding them, or throwing your grenades back at you, and all that. Like, if you were fighting Covenant the whole way through that level, I would probably put it as my favourite, but I just really did not enjoy fighting the Prometheans in Halo 4. So we'll have that as honourable mention status, because once you get the Cryptum and releasing the Didact, that's like one of the best cutscenes in all of Halo, in my opinion, releasing the Didact. And then that Ghost escape at the end was just, so good. So good. We love to see it. So strong honourable mention status for that. But the winner for best level for Halo 4, I would give to Composer, which is the penultimate level. All Covenant, thank God. And you're on that space station. You've got Dr. Tilson. You're trying to help out. It was just really fun. It felt more like a classic Halo, I guess, than 343 levels often do. It felt more like a rat's nest, was it called? The second level of Halo 3. That's what it felt like. It felt like that sort of like bunker, lots of Covenant to take out. I just really enjoyed it. And then of course the ending cutscene was mad with the Composer being fired and Dr. Tilson melting away before our very eyes, and Cortana sort of breaking down. She couldn't do anything to stop it. So yes, I'm going to give that my favourite level of Halo 4. And then the worst level, no surprise to anyone, it's got to be Shutdown. You're just going along the inside of a couple of Forerunner points. It was the first time you got to fly a Pelican, so points for that, but unfortunately, playing inside, I really like the 343 Forerunner art style from afar. Looking at it, gorgeous, but actually playing in it, less fun. And you're just like riding a slow gondola down a long path, and it's been stopped. You've got to get out and kill a bunch of things on the side, get back on, continue down the long slow path. It's been stopped again, get out and do it. It's like, and then go to another tower and do essentially the same thing, except this time with like shields that you've got to punch instead of buttons you've got to press. No. The ending cutscene of that was very good as well, with Chief jumping across the liches to try and reach the Didact ship and stuff. But yeah, no, in general, that's definitely the worst level of Halo 4 for me. And then last but by no means least, we have Halo 5, which I think everyone seemed to be in agreement that the best 3 levels were the ones on Sanghelios, the Elite Homeworld. And I agreed, those are definitely my favourite times in the game, despite not playing as Chief on them. But the levels themselves were just, so good. I loved them. And I think a lot of people might go with Swords of Sanghelios for this one, but I am not. I'm going with Battle of Sunayon. I loved Battle of Sunayon. Like, that is, out of all the Halo games, that is one of the top shelf, along with the best of the original trilogy and stuff. I adored Battle of Sunayon. Fighting alongside the Arbiter, just wiping the Covenant out for good on Sanghelios, pushing them completely off the planet. It was like their last stand, as it were, and you were going in and wrecking face, and it was just really fun, really good times. You had the sort of upper level, and then you descended down to the bottom sort of pits, which were just hanging above the ocean, and you had the cool hunter fight there, and then it ended with the Guardian rising up, and you had that cool sprint along as the thing forms in the air section and fires off its EMP waves. You did have to fight the Warden at the end of it, which, but it was only one Warden, and it was cool nonetheless, and the Prometheans only came into it right at the end. And the Prometheans were a lot more fun to fight in 5 anyway than they were in 4. So yeah, I thoroughly adored and think that is one of the better missions in the entire franchise. See how hot that take is. And then for the worst mission, don't think anyone will disagree really with this one, that it would be the penultimate mission. The penultimate mission of Halo 5, where you are the chief. Unfortunately, sorry my man, have to give one of your 3 levels the worst level status. When you are just going through the Forerunner architecture, go up a level, it looks the same as the previous level. Go up a level, it looks the same as the previous level. And it's just, no. And just all Prometheans, no Covenant. And even though they are better in 5, I don't think they are ever going to be preferable to fighting Covenant or Flood. And then, just to really rub salt in the open wound that was just how samey that level is, they went, let's bring back the Warden. You fought him like 5 times on his own, then you fought him with 2 of him at once, and so we're going to really fucking change things up by making you fight 3 of him at once. Like, okay, thank you 343, great stuff. I don't. They really should have just had him sparingly, at most twice. Have Locke fight him that first time as we did. That was fine, and then have Chief fight him at the end. And sure, even keep 3 of them. It just felt, because of how many times you fought him in between, it just felt really dumb at that point. That they were just like, oh, we're doing this again, are we? Okay. So for that reason, the breaking is my worst mission of 5. I hope you've been writing down, hope you've been commenting as you go, or not like sending the comment, but keeping that chat box open and typing in your own best and worst for each game, because I'm very interested to see what people's thoughts on that are. And so, last but not least, we come to the actual ranks of the games themselves. So, I've had to split this into 2. I've had to do one ranking list for the story and one ranking list for the gameplay, because they are not the same, and it's very hard for me to judge like when you combine those things, because I'm like, wow, the story in this was really good, but the gameplay not so much, kind of thing. And so instead of like making that more of a headache, I've just decided to do 2 separate lists. So we'll go with gameplay first. Should we? Which end shall we start with? Should we start at the top, I guess? Yeah, let's start at the top. Okay, so for gameplay, my favourite game in the entire franchise, FPSs, I went with Halo 3. I thought that it had the best, like, most fun sandbox to play around in, I guess. It introduced a bunch of cool weapons. The battle rifle was still going strong. Love the battle rifle in Halo 3. There wasn't any, like, sides, like, abilities, like sprinting, and, like, obviously 5 introduced, like, the jetpacks and all that, which, I don't know, I go back and forth on whether I liked those things, but just in general, I just thought 3 was just very, very well tuned, I guess. And when I was thinking back on which gameplay I liked the most, I thought 3 was pretty clearly in the lead there. And then we go to Reach. I thought Reach was second best. They brought back the sort of health pack system, which was interesting, but the guns all felt pretty punchy there. The DMR was a solid introduction. It was good times. I feel like I'm going to have a hard time articulating exactly why each game is in the position it is. Now that I've done the first 2, I feel like I'm struggling to say exactly why I feel that way, but I'd put Reach as a second place, and then here's where it gets controversial. Third place, I'd put Halo 5. I really liked the gunplay in Halo 5. I thought the gunplay was phenomenal, and even though it did add things which I was iffy with, like the ground slam thing, the thrusting I liked. take that out of context. The thruster pack thing I liked, being able to get up a lot of speed by sprint jumping into those thruster boosts. That was I enjoyed that. But yeah, it was mainly the main reason it's getting its third place on the gameplay list is because the guns just felt so good, so good. They completely fixed not the Forerunner weapons, the Promethean weapons. Like the suppressor became actually good and stuff like that. It was just a really good time. They didn't have they separated out the Promethean ranks as well, so the knights were now like really scary and the soldiers filled in that in-between gap. The watchers got nerfed, they weren't as fucking annoying anymore. They had less health, I'm pretty sure, as well. I just thought they found a really good balance with the gunplay in 5. That gets third place. Next up, Halo 2 in fourth place. Introduced dual wielding. It was still, early days in the franchise, so I don't think they had everything nailed down as well as they could have, but it did have some cool stuff. Obviously, play as Arbiter occasionally, which had like the invisibility stuff, and he had his sword, and I think that's a good fourth place. Fifth place, ODST. I felt a lot more nervous in ODST because obviously you were way weaker, which was cool. I'm glad they did it, and I'm glad I experienced it, but I wouldn't put it as like one of the highest for gameplay for me, just because like I felt like I had to hide very often to get shields back and stuff. So it was a fun time, but not one of the highest. Then what's this? 6th on the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 6th on the list. We're going to go with the original CE. Obviously, it was the first one. They were just getting started. It wasn't bad by any means, but it just didn't have the refinement that future ones did. Not much else to say about that, really. Just that's where it would be, I think. And then last but not least, well, no, last and least, actually, Halo 4. Fuck me. What went wrong? What went wrong? I don't know. It's just... The Prometheans were not fun to fight in Halo 4. The Knights were just way too overused, but then at the same time there wasn't anything below them except for the crawlers, which are like the cannon fodder. They really, it was perfect adding the soldiers in 5 because they needed that extra like in between step. But yeah, in Halo 4 the Knights weren't fun to fight. The Watchers were the biggest pain in the arse I've ever seen, and yeah, no, bottom of the list for gameplay, Halo 4. So then, last but not least, the story, which is not the same order. Let's start... Should we start at the bottom in this one? A lot of you... This might be the spiciest hot take of the entire video. The bottom of the list is not 5 for me, which I feel like for most people it will be. They'll say Halo 5 had the worst story. I'm going to put Halo CE as the worst story, which... Don't get mad. It was a lot of setting things up. It was great the way it introduced everything. It was good for what it was, but not that much really happened. Like it was just finding out about stuff like, oh, this is the Forerunners, this is a Halo, it's a weapon, it's used to defeat the Flood. It was all like finding out how things worked, which is interesting from like a lore standpoint, but in terms of the actual story, it was literally just crash on the ring, Covenant released the Flood, okay, we need to stop them, let's blow the thing up. That was pretty much the whole story, and not much actually happened. So while it was a good introduction, I don't think I would put that as better than 5 in terms of story. But then the next one up on the list would be 5 as the second worst. So it was near the bottom. Don't worry, I'm not putting it way up the top. It's still second worst, but I just thought it was more interesting to me. A lot of people hate that they made Cortana the villain, but I'm okay with it. I do think they should have had a game in between where she wasn't in it at all, but it is what it is. I am fine with her becoming the villain. I was interested to see how that relationship would work. I did like the whole like created thing where she was like taking over and giving all these AIs immortality, and like the fact that humanity has become so reliant on them, that's like huge that they would now turn against them and put humanity completely on the back foot. And I'm so interested to see where the story goes in Infinite. So, yeah, I would put that as second worst because obviously there were some major issues with it, but it was a lot more happened, a lot more of that I was super invested in. So yeah, I'd put that there. Next up on the story list, in the same position it was in for the gameplay list at number 5, is Odst. It was good. It was interesting. I liked what they did with the sort of like the flashback structure and telling each of the stories of the team as they went through the day. But it wasn't as like grand scale as some of the others, I guess, which made it not get a higher place on this list. But it was still very enjoyable. Next up in 4th place is Halo 4. So that's a big rise from being bottom of the gameplay list. I loved a lot of the story in this game. The way they built up Chief and Cortana's relationship much more was fantastic, I thought. The introduction of the Didact was brilliant. I do wish we'd had more time with him. And the way, of course, he was killed off at the end was trash. Can we just say trash? It was trash. So that's why it's not any higher than 4th place. But there was a lot more dialogue between Chief and Cortana, and the relationship was just such a strong focus, and I thought they did that really, really well, and obviously her death at the end as well. Heartbreaking stuff, so we'll put that in 4th place. So, we're in the top 3 now. Story. In 3rd place, gonna do Halo 3. So that won the gameplay, but down to 3rd place for the story. It was a great conclusion to the trilogy, but it was very clearly not as strong in the writing department as 2. There were things that were set up in Halo 2 that weren't really paid off. Like, Truth himself is my biggest hang-up because he went from a very clever, scheming villain in 2 that was killing off or getting his other hierarchs killed off so that he could take full control himself, kind of thing. He was a smart boy in Halo 2, and then in Halo 3 he sort of just became a maniac, like a religious fanatic kind of thing. It felt like he lost a lot of the character development that he gained in Halo 2, so that is why 3 is probably not any higher than 3rd place. And obviously 3rd place is still great. The overarching thing, like Cortana being captured, fighting through, obviously at the start, fighting back the Covenant that found Earth, and then travelling to the Ark. That was amazing. The actual level, the Covenant, obviously best one in the franchise, taking down Truth, really good. How the Flood teamed up with us briefly, and then were gone again against us. And yeah, the ending as well, especially, was just really, really well handled. Arbiter making it home, Chief being stuck out in space. We love to see it. Brilliant stuff. 3rd place because it didn't quite follow through on some of the promise that 2 set up, but yeah, no, great stuff. So that just leaves Halo 2 and Halo Reach. So which one have I put in 2nd place? The answer is Halo Reach. I really, really loved the team dynamic there. It was fantastic stuff, the whole squad of Spartans, which we'd never seen before. I loved the dynamic between each of them. They each had distinct personalities, and the whole, like, you knew what was coming because it's a prequel. You know Reach gets destroyed. You know it's going to be a futile effort, but just the way they told it, it still kept it really engaging the whole way through as they tried to fight back the Covenant forces because they believed they might be able to win for a time. Eventually, that belief was like, nah, maybe not. But it was just really well done in the way they killed off the characters in heartbreaking ways. They made you care for them as well before killing them off, which obviously that makes it more affecting when that happens, and I thought they did a fantastic job. And yeah, it was a brilliant story, loved it. And the only reason it wasn't number 1 is because number 1 is Halo 2, and Halo 2 was just fucking phenomenal in the story department. They expanded so much from CE, because obviously CE you had no insight into the Covenant really or anything, and then Halo 2 comes along, it's bang, straight in there, you're on High Charity, you're seeing the Arbiter being tortured, you're seeing how their hierarchy works. Well, that's funny, yeah, hierarchs, yeah. Seeing like an in-depth look at the Covenant whilst also maintaining that focus on the other side of things with the Chief and Cortana and everything that's going on there. And just like the whatchamacallit, Regrets ship, That was an awesome section when they were like flying to make the portal and the portal destroys the city and then you're on a brand new Halo. That was amazing. Taking down Regret. The fight itself, not so great. Jump on and punch him a couple of times, but the story of it was fantastic. Getting sucked down by the Gravemind, and that cutscene in strong contention for best in the franchise, the Gravemind cutscene. And of course you've got the Arbiter sections. You're seeing how he's developing his views, changing his views as he goes through. And yeah, as I said in the bit about Halo 3, Truth is just far more scheming and manipulative. I really liked that. Tartarus, fantastic villain. He's so strongly against the elites. They do the whole changing of the guard thing. And it all culminates in the rings, like, firing almost and getting saved at the last minute. And then discovering that the Ark is able to fire the rest of them. Chief going onto the ship. Sir finishing this fight. Fantastic stuff. Loved it. Just, oh, so good. So good. So for me, Halo 2's story is the best in the bunch. There we go. That was a lot of talking. That wasn't scripted, if you couldn't tell. I was just saying how I felt as I went along, so I hope you enjoyed that. And yeah, please do leave your thoughts and your rankings, listings for your own version of each of those things. So the story, a story listing, a gameplay listing, best music, best Cortana, and the best and worst levels for each game. That is what I'm super interested to hear from people. And yeah, that concludes the listing part of the video. Now we're going to jump into the Halo Infinite trailers. First one being from 2018. So let's jump over to that and see you in a sec. Alrighty, so here is the E3 2018 announcement trailer, the first thing anyone saw of Halo Infinite. Let's jump in and see how they introduced it to the world. Game engine demonstration, aka the actual game won't look as good as this, is basically what that means. Oh, that is very, very pretty. Was that light in the sky from one of those, like, Forerunner firing things? What are those? They kind of look like the rings from a space elevator. That was some scary creature? Presumably that scary creature? Rhino Boy? Oh yeah, that's gotta be. This is very vibey, huh? Inside of a pelican? There hasn't been a thing that specifically shows its halo. You've had hints, but there's not been a, like... And there's the confirmation. Hey, it was the towers. Sick. Powered by the Slipspace engine. Yeah, that's the one they spent... Oh. Huh. Putting a new AI in? Interesting. Yeah, a lot of that trailer did not, like, for people who are only very, very casually into the series and potentially don't know, like, oh yeah, that's probably a Forerunner thing shooting a beam of light into the sky, or oh, that's the inside of a pelican. For people who aren't, like, or maybe haven't played the games in a while, because I obviously have the benefit of having very, very recently played through the entire thing, they wouldn't know, I don't think, that it's a Halo trailer until it zoomed back. That was a really cool reveal, that shot, where it zooms back and then Chief holding his helmet comes into view. Chief's just standing around on a fucking Halo ring with his head out. He's a lot less protective of his looks these days. But But yeah, that was a vibey reveal trailer. I like it. It's definitely like a positive feeling I got watching that. I mean, who knows where they're going to take it gameplay and story-wise. I may have said this before, but if you didn't know, I'm recording this before the Xbox reveal stream occurs, where they do show infinite gameplay, because I wanted to be fully up to speed. So even though this video is going to come out after that, at the point of recording, I have not seen the stream or anything. This is my first exposure to infinite stuff. Cool. Okay, so that was the 2018 E3 trailer. Now let's jump to the 2019 E3 trailer. Okay, here we are. It's called Discover Hope, which I'm pretty sure the one for Reach that we watched, the sort of live action-y one, was called Deliver Hope. So this is a clear reference to that, which I wonder how people felt about it, because obviously that was a Bungie game. I wonder if people were like, oh, you're just trying to scrape some goodwill by making a reference, or whether it was not an issue. I don't know. Sometimes people can be like that. This one is a whopping 6 minutes. So I know it doesn't have gameplay in it, because that's what everyone is excited for, to see the first gameplay for the stream in a couple of days' time. So I guess it's a 6 minute long cutscene. Also, forgot to mention, the Slipspace engine, powered by Slipspace engine. That is the very, very new, brand new engine that they spent like 2 years building or something for the new Halos. So here's hoping it's good, because that is probably what the next like 5 or more Halo games are going to be built on, is this Slipspace engine, because you don't spend 2 years and millions of dollars building an engine to then not use it much. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, here we go, the 2019 E3 trailer. Warning. You okay, my dude?
Warning. Pressure building in lines 4, 17, and 33. Pressure building in lines 4, 17, and 33. Pressure building in lines 4, 7. Protocol accepted. Breach detected.
Uh-oh. Oof. Nasty fall. What is going on here? It's again not super clear that it would even be a Halo trailer if you didn't know, because if you were watching it for the first time at E3, where they don't tell you the name of the trailer, you wouldn't really know.
Daddy's listening. Can you say hi?
Hi.
And how big are you?
How big are you?
Can you tell Daddy how big you are?
Recorded hologram message.
So big.
So big.
And can you sing?
Tingle, tingle.
Aww.
Let's sing.
That's
how
cute.
about I miss you,
Miss you.
and I love you.
I love you.
I love you, Daddy.
I love you, Daddy.
No.
And I can't wait to see you. Can you say see you?
See you.
Good.
Wait.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
My dude didn't have a big beard and longer hair before, did he? I guess time has just passed. That was a cheeky way of showing a bunch of times passed. Is he like stranded? Because he's in like a spaceship or something, it seems like. Stranded out in space somehow? Go check it out, my mans. What are you doing, mate?
Signal detected. Tag designated.
This is UNSC Pelican Echo 216. Can you hear me?
There's the reveal.
This is UNS.
Oh! And there's the bigger reveal that it's a Halo trailer. What is Chief doing? Just having a fucking nap in space. This isn't the end of Halo 4. How have you got yourself in this sticky situation? Okay, he's been brought in. Attaboy. Oh, that is a heavy landing. Chief's been eating the protein.
Looks like the main power cells are fried. Auto shut down. Triggering survival
He's wrapped
mode.
cable around his elbows to haul him in
I'm going
somehow.
to try to override.
He must have had to go spacewalk and wrap the cables around him.
Okay. If you can hear me in there, I hope you're ready. Please don't die. Please don't die.
Nice.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Well done, mate.
We're going home!
I like the thin shield bar. Love a thin shield bar.
Welcome back, Chief. I rerouted what little power I had into your suit.
Appreciate it.
Looks like there's a problem with the servos in your hands. Stay calm. You've been out there a while.
Oof, an empty
Also,
Cortana
something
slot.
you need to check your armor
That's different armor again. He has no armor on the fingers or the palms at all.
Whoa, 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 easy there, big guy. You're not...
Status report.
Status report? What? There's something you need to see, Chief.
What's happened? Like, why was Chief just floating out in space? And this guy's seemingly stranded for months. What's gone on? I'm glad the doors are just tall enough for Chief to step through.
We lost.
Oh,
Lost everything. There's nothing left for us here. I don't think we're here is. No, 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 no. Not then. Not again. We need to run.
No, we need to fight. Get ready.
sick. Oh, more? Okay. That was cool. I have a lot to think about.
I chose you because you were special.
Hey.
I knew we would be perfect together. And I was right.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, the last minute of that trailer has a lot to unpack. So they're orbiting a Halo ring, but their ring is broken, so maybe it's installation 4? Because that's the only one we actually snapped up when we blew up the Pillar of Autumn, right? Installation 5 was still in one piece, and we never went to any others. We went to the repaired 4, but then that was on the Ark, and then blew the fuck out of that as well. So, interesting. Curiosa. Wonder what on earth's gone on there. But I very much am happy with that. Oh yeah, and the pilot said not again when they started getting zapped by something. I wonder if that was a Guardian. That could be it. Okay, so I'm very happy with that last 30 seconds of Chief it was in a control room? I think it was a control room, because that seemed to prove, because there's been a lot of debate over, apparently 343 said it was going to be a spiritual reboot, whatever the fuck spiritual reboot means, and so people have been talking in the comments over the course of the games about just how much of a reboot it's going to be, and some people were saying they're going to just be starting completely fresh and ignoring the story, and I was like, I really hope that is not the case, because that would be a real bummer to go through all this story and then to have it wiped clean, and that final bit has confirmed for me that won't happen. There's no way. Not with everything that's been built up. They're not just going to be ignoring that whole thing and starting fresh. Cortana is clearly in control in the control room. Yes, words. And oh yeah, and he looked at the little data thing in his hand as well. So it seems like it is going to be a direct continuation from 5, which is very good, because I, for one, am very interested to see where that story goes. I know a lot of people hate the idea of Cortana as a villain. I'm fine with it. I think they could have executed a little better, but in terms of the actual story potential there, I think there is a lot that could be done with it. I just hope they have a good writing team exploring those possibilities. So, yes, we live in hope. There is one more thing that I've been sent to look at, so let's jump to that now. Right, this is called Discover Hope Halo Infinite Cortana Secret Audio Message. So maybe somehow hidden in the Discover Hope trailer we just watched. There was that section when Chief was booting up and a whole ton of code went past the screen, so maybe there was something hidden in that. Let's have a listen and see what Cortana's secret message is.
This is part of me. I don't know why. I don't know how, but it is me.
Okay, so that sounded like Chief walking towards something, heavy footsteps, and then that Cortana talking, but that didn't sound like new Cortana to me. What do you think? That sounded like old Cortana. Potentially talking about, I don't know why or how, but it is me, talking about a rampant fragment of her, maybe? I don't know. Interesting, but that makes it seem like Chief will have a Cortana with him. I wonder if Halsey would make just a different Cortana model. Then that seems treacherous to our original Cortana. She specifically said in Halo 4 that they'll try and pair you with another AI, another Cortana model if Halsey lets them, I think was the quote. But it won't be me. And that would seem like we betrayed the original Cortana if we did just accept another Cortana model after she specifically says it won't be me. We won't have that history together. It will just be a different AI that looks the same and presumably has a similar personality if they're both created from Halsey's brain. But it wouldn't be the same one. It wouldn't be the one we've had all those experiences with. So I wonder if they do that and then use new Cortana to try and take down old Cortana in the same way, talking about like deep lore stuff here that you've been updating me on as we go through. But the way back in the Forerunner times, there was the AI mendicant bias, and he was originally created to stop the flood, and he ended up becoming the enemy. And then they made a new one, a new bias, something bias, offensive bias, I think it was. They made a new one of that to then try and stop the old one. So I wonder if it'd be a similar situation like that. I know people have been saying they want to see mendicant bias in Halo Infinite. It could be potential. I am so curious what they're going to show in this gameplay showcase in a couple of days' time, man. I'm very much looking forward to that. This is really interesting. Oh, my hype levels for Infinite, they are majorly increased. I wonder if we'll get a release date. Probably not, because Microsoft and Sony are playing big old games of chicken with their release dates and with their prices. But maybe soon. Who knows? I would love to know. I want to be able to plan the rest of my year. God damn it! I'm gonna have to think about what games I will be able to play because I can't play them all. There's too many. We shall see. We shall see how it goes. Well, that is that. I'll try and remember to add the Xbox stream to this playlist if you're watching in a playlist as well. If you haven't seen that yet, I will have uploaded the Xbox stream previously on a previous day as soon as I have finished watching it. So this is recorded before that. Did I already say that? I think I did. So yeah, I'll have gone into that stream with all the knowledge from these videos. So I will be completely up to speed and we shall see what they show. Right. So that's it for the mainline FPS titles. Next up is the 2 RTS titles, of which I've never played a game in that genre before, so it's probably going to go horribly wrong, but I'll give it a go because I'm very, very intrigued and interested by the Halo world and lore and story and everything, so I will try and put my best foot forward with a completely foreign genre to experience those. Hope to see you there. If you've enjoyed these videos, these series, if you could leave a like and subscribe, I would really appreciate that. Share the videos around, share the playlist around if you can, and if you really like what I do, there is a Patreon link in the description. Anything you could afford to send my way would be hugely helpful to keep the channel running and keep these videos coming with all the new releases that are coming out in the next few months. Oh my god, there are so many. But yeah, I will see you next time for Halo Wars. Thanks for watching. See you then.